Hello and welcome back to the Daily Newcastle podcast. And it is nothing better than Boxing Day football. But it is not as we know it, just the one Premier League fixture this year. But of course, Newcastle United are featured. The late night kickoff at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United versus Newcastle United. I would love it if we beat them. But to cut through all of that bull and drama and get down to the nitty-gritty with me, it's Iain Mackay. How you doing, Iain?
I'm doing good, Michael. I'm very glad to leap in at the last minute and talk about this game. I was already looking forward to reviewing it on the 27th, but more than happy to join in and save the world from yet another Grahamslaw solo.
Not all heroes wear capes, mate, but I would love it if you did. There's plenty riding on this for both clubs. League positions both want to see improved momentum coming out of Christmas, and morale because both teams are coming off slightly disappointing results against good competition. But before we get tactical, how are you feeling about this one? Does it feel like a big opportunity for Newcastle? Want to get over on Manchester United and get level on points?
Yes, I think if we'd beaten Chelsea, I probably would be happy with drawing with Manchester United. But the fact that we dropped two
Agreed.
points there, I really think that we need three off them to move us through the table. I know that draw lifted us up to 11th. We did gain a place, but we want to get up to 6th and 7th and start really putting some pressure on these teams because I do think still
100%.
we are still in a position where a win here sets us up lovely for a quite a benign looking run of games if we can hit
Yeah.
some consistent form.
There was a pod I just recorded with Kev just beforehand, and he spoke about exactly those games. And he made the prediction that after the Leeds game, we'd be in those European places. Do you agree with that? Because he mentioned it, and I went, you know what? I can't argue against it.
But the thing is, the whole of the Premier League, top three sides aside, is very inconsistent. They're all taking points off
Yes.
each other. They win, draw, win, lose. And if we could put 4 or 5 wins together, and these are the sort of matches, well, we've got Wolves and Burnley are the two away games. Um, was it Leeds, Crystal Palace at home?
Yeah, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Leeds, yeah, all at
Just
home.
take those, just take those 4 games, and this one, 15 points out of 15 there. That's going to put us definitely up fourth, fifth. But if Arsenal or Villa um, start dropping any points, we could get among them. Because to be fair, Arsenal are so consistent, and yet can't remember whether they won away from home on their last game. Can't remember what the last game was. But before that,
They
they
did
hadn't
win the
won
last
in the
game.
last. They hadn't won in their last 3 away games, so they've drawn 3 away from home recently, which means they've dropped 6 points. So
Mm-hmm.
a good run of form from any team, I think all the bets are on because City look like they are capable of just winning week after week, and we've seen that so many times. But I
Yeah.
do I do love the traditional um, Arsenal. They're like the Christmas decorations, aren't they? Start coming down after January the 6th. Um,
Too early.
so we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to
Yeah,
see them
100%.
wobble.
Yeah, I completely agree. Just to correct myself there as well, I said the Burnley game was at home. That one's away. The other two are at home. But you mentioned Arsenal there as well. I hadn't even clocked about their away form thinking about it. They drew away to Sunderland, then drew away to Chelsea, and then lost away to Aston Villa. So away form's almost starting to sound like Newcastle United-esque. It's that bad. But this game, back to sort of Old Trafford, Man United, a standalone fixture. Let's be honest, whenever the two play, it's all anybody can think about, even during the Christmas week. At the minute, the two teams are pretty evenly matched in the league. Man United are 7th, Newcastle are 11th. Would you say that's kind of where Newcastle's squad is at the moment, on par with Man United? Or do you think squad-wise we should be higher or maybe even lower?
I um I don't think we've had the rub of the green, Michael. To be honest, I know we've turned in some
We
poor
haven't.
performances, but to keep conceding in the last couple of minutes,
Yeah.
um, to not be awarded penalties that would have reversed the flow of the game afterwards, for example. I think we're top of the league, aren't we, for throwing away 13 points
Joint
when
with
we've been in
Brentford,
away
yeah,
position. Um, I don't think. I still think we're in a false position because I think we've got a much stronger squad than a lot of the teams ahead of us.
absolutely.
Manchester United have been much, much better this year, but that is a Manchester United that has Bruno Fernandes commanding the midfield and Brian Mbuemo running riot down the right, and neither of those are available to play. So um, I'm very hopeful. I'm always very hopeful. I'm a happy clapper, but I do think Newcastle have got a stronger squad, more strength in depth, um, and I think we've got our players available, most of our players available when they haven't. But I'm sure we'll get onto that.
Yeah, the back line for Newcastle is the only place where realistically you do see a few injuries. But you mentioned strength and depth there for Man United. Absolutely, like some of the players, they obviously Arden Haven. He has to start for Manchester United at the back line, and you look at their substitutes. The only ones you really recognise if you're not familiar with their academy is Buendia, the goalkeeper, Tom Heaton, the other goalkeeper, Tyrell Malacia, who everyone thought went missing last year. I think people were pretty close to putting out missing person requests about him. They were
I
that
thought he
worried.
had he not got sold, or were they just talking about that? I didn't even
They
know
were
he was
just
still
talking
there.
about it. No. And then you have Lisandro Martinez, who's going to start very likely in the place of Bruno Fernandes and Joshua Zirkzee. So they're really, really at bare bones. And that injury to Bruno Fernandes is only going to make it worse. And you mentioned there, obviously, Newcastle's strength and depth is a little bit better than Man United at the moment. Not many times we've been able to say that this
No,
season. So just you mentioned just before there as well the drop of points Newcastle. We drop points again against Chelsea. Does it almost sting more and more after every single game because we see it again and again and again? Like the Chelsea 2-2, going being 2-0 up and finishing 2-2, it would always hurt. But the fact that we've seen it so many times this season, is it just getting more and more annoying and stinging more and more just because it keeps happening?
well, the Tottenham one was unnecessary for sure.
It
That was
was.
such a soft goal, and that was disappointing. I felt on the Chelsea when we were, I thought Chelsea were excellent in the second half, but I don't think our performance dropped off that much. I think we still had better chances, and
Agreed.
I mean, we had a fantastic shout for a penalty, which everybody else, even the Sunderland fans I've talked to, say is definitely a penalty. I don't know how it's not given as a
Yeah.
penalty. I've watched it so many times. Um, that puts us 3-1 and takes the wind out of their sails, which rather than having conceded a goal to deflate us slightly and then have a certain penalty turned down to deflate us even more, which I think allows them to come to 2-2. We then make our subs and then start, I think, having at least better chances than Chelsea. That didn't feel
100%.
the same. Um, and a heartbreak against Liverpool, heartbreak
Yeah.
against Arsenal. But you kind of expect that sort of thing against those
You
sort of
can
teams.
understand it. Yeah.
It's just, we've conceded a goal against Arsenal. Wow. Um, but it just happened to be in the 6th minute of injury time. That's what the sting was, not the fact that Arsenal managed to beat us, because Arsenal are a wonderful team. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. People talking about it puts it in the heads of the players. What they should be talking about, really, now, what Eddie will be talking about is against Sunderland, Fulham, and Chelsea. We haven't conceded a goal at the end. We haven't conceded a goal at the end from a
Yeah.
set piece. So,
Three in a
you
row.
know, this is, we're talking about what we're going to do on Boxing Day. Um, I don't think it's relevant what we did back in October and November, really, as long as it's not playing on
Yeah.
everybody's
It's a fair
mind.
point,
And the other thing you said about us being depleted in defence, we are,
but not
except
for long.
we've got a really, really good defence going out. Shah and Chow, we've said several times, is our first choice centre back pairing. Lewis Hall back on the left wing. He's head and shoulders above anybody else that can play there. And we've discovered the Geordie Maldini. So that is a
Joe
super
Cole, eat your heart
strong
out.
that is a super strong defence that we're putting out. If we
It
need
is.
to, if we need to, I'm confident on Alex Murphy coming in and taking on the last 20
Yeah.
minutes if we need to save Hall. Um, Jacob Murphy can drop back and fill in at right back if we need to save Miley. I think we can improvise around with the players that are fit. Certainly, when we can get an hour out of the best defence that we could put out, I think,
Yeah.
arguably,
100%.
unless Tino is better than Miley. But I think Miley's shown such control and such maturity that he might be a better right back than Livramento in the long run. So yeah, we've got our best defence out, which is nice.
Hmm.
If we've got Bruno and Tonali and Ramsey runs for an hour and then is replaced by a fit again Joe Linton with Wisser and Voltemada and Gordon and Murphy with Barnes to come on, we're nearly full strength. I mean, I know we're not. You could argue Botman would get into the team, but I don't know if he would.
Yeah.
Um, but we've got going forward. We've got the full range of who we'd like to have, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's one of those where for Newcastle, the only real negative is that all of those injuries seem to be coming in the same positions. So when you were looking at it, Dan Burns, Kieran Trippier, Sven Botman, Jamal Lascelles before Tino Livramento. I'm not sure why I've gone that route, but Tino Livramento, Emil Kraft at the back. You're looking and going, that's 6 injuries. Usually for any club, that causes a lot of issues. I mean, for Man United, that they've got 2 and they're having to start their academy players. So it is a bit of a worrying one, but as you say there, Lewis Miley, the Geordie Maldini, as he was referred to by Joe Cole. I mean, jokingly for one moment, but you can't say something like that and it won't stick. Filling in at right back, but just to go in on Miley again, obviously you've been his biggest advocate for a long, long time, and rightfully so. To be honest, how impressed have you been with him filling in at fullback? Because he is so good, isn't he?
Well, there was one game where he had to go and assist Livramento. I can't remember who it
Yeah,
was where he went across to fill in. It might have been one of the European games. Um, but he did look like he knew what he was doing there, and Livramento and him worked their way out of that corner many, many times. I thought that looked good. I like the way he wins so many duels. He's winning 9 and 10 duels in each game, which is
yeah,
bonkers, really. But I've been really impressed with how calm and cool he is. Our other fullbacks, Lewis Hall accepted, are prone to whack a ball when it's come up the line and straight out of play and hand the ball back to the opposition on the halfway line. I've never seen Lewis
yeah.
Miley do that. I've seen him put his foot on it. I've seen him turn away and have a look up and wait for somebody to come and make themselves available so we can retain possession and work the ball away from the defence, which actually is what your elite fullbacks do. So I've
Yeah,
been really
100%.
impressed with Lewis Miley. He's so cool. He's got such a lot of nous that he's probably picked up from Tonali and Bruno about putting his body between the ball. He's he's bought a foul or two, and he doesn't give away many free kicks.
No, not
The
at
only
all.
free kick he gave away on Saturday shouldn't have been a free kick. So I've been very impressed with him, and yeah, I have been his advocate partly because everyone loves a Roy of the Rovers story. But I thought he was really good. Do you remember one of his early games? He put a fantastic ball through. I think it's against Ipswich, was it, for Isak to score,
Isaac.
and
Yeah,
he threaded it through. And if you just think, well, if you can see that, there was another one where we lost. We ended up losing to AC Milan in the Champions League, where he got the ball and he just laid it off to the side for Jolinton to score a fabulous shot. But
yeah,
that
I
was,
remember.
you'd think the
Great
young
goal.
lad at 17 is going to have a whack on that, but he was aware enough to know that I'm just going to keep this rolling for Jolinton to run onto it. And he scored a great
Yeah,
goal.
the composure.
So I've ever since he's got into the team, I've been really impressed with him. I really wanted to have more time last year, but we did quite well last year. He did
Mhm.
get on as a sub, and he was injured. But since he's come back into the team, got over this injury, I think he must be first name on the team sheet. When
Yeah, absolutely.
Livramento comes back, he might be getting written into the midfield as quickly as Bruno and Tonali, and or Ramsey. I think he's worked his way past Joe Linton in my head to start.
Yeah, I think For me, he's got to be that third central midfielder once everyone's fit. He's shown something that I've not really seen too much, and that's from Bruno, that's Tonali, and that, as you say, is that control and that sort of composure on the ball. Tonali, he always looks like he's rushing, but he's rushing in the most elegant way possible. And then Bruno, it's one of those where he wins fouls so well, he does give away a few odd ones, but you can really see the emphasis that both Bruno and Tonali have had on Miley, as you were saying. And yeah, I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet at the minute, just with the form he's in as well. We'll talk a bit more about team news in just a moment. But for now, we're going to go to the advert from Bionic.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionic, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionic provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionic. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Absolutely fantastic. So Eddie Howe did his press conference earlier today, and there is some pretty positive news that Nick Pope may be back in training. Now, depending on who you ask, that's positive, and depending on who you ask, it might not be. But I want to get where you sit on the current Ramsdale versus Pope debate. Who is your preference in goal at the moment for Newcastle United?
Aaron Ramsdale.
Okay, why is that?
For sure, because when Ramsdale plays and the ball is played back to him and he's 10 yards outside his box and you're waiting for him to ping it out to Murphy or play it through the lines to Tonali on the centre circle and it actually reaches, I think the advantages that gives Newcastle because they're playing 10 yards further up the pitch, 15 yards further up the pitch, outweigh the less save percentage that he's got compared to Nick Pope. I think the save percentages are skewed because he hasn't really played that many games. I don't think he's made any complete howlers personally. I don't think he could have done much with that free kick. But, in hindsight, if he took half a step to his right, he might have got down to that. But that was a fantastic free kick against Chelsea. I don't think he could have been blamed for Voltemada's own goal header in the derby. I mean,
No,
he almost
definitely
got
not
to
that
it.
one. No.
He almost got to it. I don't know whether he can be blamed for one that goes in off Bruno's backside. So, the whole of the defence can be blamed for working in slow motion for that awful overhead shin by Romero in the Tottenham game. So I don't think he's made too many howlers. He hasn't had a chance to make as many saves as Pope has against your Leeds and Burnley and Fulham and all the rest of them. Pope's save percentage is just high because he played in 3-0-0s in the first 3 away games.
True.
So it's skewed. It's skewed by low numbers. I don't think he's any worse than Pope is at stopping shots. And maybe you lose something on him claiming the ball at crosses because he's not as tall. But he did come and claim a few against Chelsea.
He did.
I think the advantages you get for having him as a sweeper keeper and us basically retaining possession of the ball as we turn and go forward in the opposition half is a huge advantage, massive advantage. It outweighs anything else.
Yeah, I think it is one of those where you look at sort of what do both of them bring, and Newcastle United are a better side overall with Aaron Ramsdale in there. I think the negative of, as you mentioned, is the save percentage. When you look at sort of the statistics, Nick Pope has somehow prevented more than he should have let in, if that makes sense. So we should have let in one more goal than what we have with Nick Pope in, although I seem to remember about 10 occasions where we've let in the ball's gone in the back of the net and I've gone, how's Pope not saved that? while Ramsdale is the other way. Apparently, we've conceded one extra, but as you say, there have been so many sort of freak goals and there isn't exactly a lot to go off for Aaron Ramsdale. He's only conceded the 9, but I think he's only played 6 games or something like that, 690s in the league. So it's one of those where definitely, if you look through the vision test, Aaron Ramsdale is the better option, I think. But having both there, I'm hoping is enough to spur them on to do even better, like we had with Wilson and Isak when Isak was just coming through. Because Pope's a better shot stopper, I think, in my opinion, but Ramsdale is so much better. He's more accustomed to our style. And I think we need someone a little bit. We do need someone different in the end, but now,
it's almost
Rambo, isn't it?
It's almost like last year when
Dubravka.
Dubravka came in. Our results suddenly started picking up. I don't think that's because Dubravka is any better a shot stopper, although he was a good shot stopper, very good.
He was, yes.
I think it was because he's better with his feet. I think his distribution was much better, and I think our results picked up. He's the unluckiest man in the world to sit on the bench and watch himself win 2 winners' medals without playing a moment's football, because that was harsh to replace him with Pope in the final. But I just think that's the sort of goalie we need. Whether Ramsdale is the long-term solution, I'm not sure. It depends who else is available, doesn't it? Because there are a lot of goalkeepers in the Premier League you could buy who I wouldn't swap Ramsdale for. I think if Ramsdale continues in the first team, he's Pickford's understudy at the World Cup.
Ooh, well, that's a big shout. That is a big shout. I definitely want to see him play for us a lot more. And I think there is that potential there. I need more saves, like what I saw the Neto effort against Chelsea, where it's one that could potentially go in. It isn't exactly straight at him. It's a good save. Feel like I need to see a few more of those. And for me, the only other thing is there's been quite a few goals where it's slowly gone into the back of the net. Like if you remember the handball against Chelsea, the Pedro Neto, it literally heads it down, it bounces off his arm, and it's the slowest bounce ever, and it trickles in. And that's the only thing that is same with Romero's overhead kick. They're the only things that are really stuck in my mind.
Michael, we could see from up in the family section of Elisa's corner, and it was at the other end. We could see that was a handball from sitting up there. So he must have seen it hit his hand. I don't know why he's going to bust a gut to put it out. He'll have known it was going to be a handball.
You've still got to try and stop it, and he did.
I think he went down in slow motion for that Romero shot. But he's made some good saves. He has made some good saves. Same as Pope has made some really good saves. But I remember the goals at West Ham, all 3.
Yeah.
Pope could have done much better with.
Brentford as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about our hosts for a little while, obviously not too much. But Man United aren't exactly at full strength either. And Newcastle, on the whole of it, are actually in a bit better of a position because Man United are without Harry Maguire and Matthias de Ligt. I've started with the positives for them. Bruno Fernandes is set to miss out with a hamstring injury that was picked up against Aston Villa. And AFCON has taken Brian Mbeumo, Amad Diallo, and Nasser Mazraoui away from the side, which I'm not going to lie, when you look at those names missing, you start to think Newcastle, this is looking more and more like you have to get a result. Would you say that? Not 3 points, but you need a result no matter what.
I think with those guys missing, we should be expecting 3 points. We've beaten them 5 of the last 6 games we've played them since they beat us in the Carabao Cup. And remember, we had great expectations of being able to do them in the Carabao Cup. We just rose a little bit on the day. So we won 5 out of 6. The game that we lost feels a little bit like this game where we're expecting to win. And I think we lost 3-2, didn't we? And
yes, we did.
I think that was that Ahmed inspired victory.
It was. Ahmad was really good that day. He got the second goal. Mainu got the first, and then Rasmus Højlund sort of finished us off, which was embarrassing.
So it does feel a little bit like that. I mean, we should see Kobe Mainu might be playing. He's a good player that hasn't been getting much time. But I tell you what, if Man U don't play him to play against us, Eddie should be on the phone to try and get him to come to play at Newcastle, because I think he can play anywhere in the midfield.
Absolutely. I think if it's one of those where we were sort of looking at who might go, Willock is probably one of the first names out the door. I think, unfortunately, you got to replace him. Bringing in a Kobe Mainu, that is a player that really makes a statement, because for another side, maybe not a Ruben Amorim player, but for another side, he would light this league apart, I think. And I'm really, really glad that I don't think he's going to start against us, because he is a great player. But on the Newcastle side, obviously they've got a lot of injuries. From our perspective, do you think that we're going to start with the same team as we did against Chelsea, or do you think we might see a little bit rotation?
I think it will be by and large the same side. I don't think I was disappointed with Murphy on Saturday. I couldn't remember when I went to see it. I disappointed with Murphy's performance. I know he can put a good cross in, but one good cross coming in between him giving the ball away half a dozen times because he can't find the accuracy to make a simple 5-yard pass is so frustrating. So I wouldn't be surprised if Elanga gets another go, rotated. It's his old club after all. That might inspire him to do a little bit. He's played a lot at Old Trafford. So I'd say Elanga in for Murphy, and then, pay your money, take your choice about whether it's Visser that starts and Voltemada that comes on, or, as I would guess, Voltemada will keep his place because he scored twice, and Visser will come on.
Agreed.
Probably after an hour, I would hope, to keep them fresh for Burnley 3 or 4 days later. So I don't think you can't
that's
change
going to be a tough game as well.
You can't change the defence because there isn't anybody to change. And I think we've got to keep. To be fair, Bruno looked absolutely exhausted, mind, at the end of the Chelsea game. So I think he'll still go because it's Man U. Bruno and Tonali will want to play in that game. You've got to keep Ramsey in. He had his best game, head and shoulders his best game for us. He will start. And then, Anthony Gordon and Voltemada were wonderful, weren't they? It's just Murphy will swap for Elanga. That's my prediction.
Ooh, I'm pretty much making the same prediction, but I do think it'll be Barnes that comes in and Gordon moving to the right. But either way, I do agree. Murphy coming out. I think he does have, as you mentioned, he does have some really good balls in him. He's got, he puts in a great cross here and there. But as you say, I think he completed 9 passes in the first half, and that was when we were at our best. So it's one of those, you need someone who's going to make a little bit more of an impact. And to be fair, this does feel like one of those games where goals are almost inevitable. But I guess that depends on how Newcastle are going to start the game. If we're going to keep pretty much the same team against Chelsea, do you think we'll start in the same way and try and hit them on the attack? Or do you think it's going to be Newcastle United are away, let's sit back a little bit?
No, it can't be that. It can't be that. Surely the lesson has been learned. And I mean, remember in the League Cup, when we played Kraft and Dummett at centre half, we really went after them and we beat them 3-0, and they were lucky to get 0. So, this time last year, we won 2-0, but it was 2-0 after 20 minutes. That's the time to maybe choose when you press, but I think we've got to go all out. That's our style. Let's get ahead. Let's press for another one. And, if against Chelsea, if we got that third goal in the first half, which we should have had, Voltemada missed an easier chance than the 2 he scored. It kills the game. 2-0 doesn't, 3-0 does. I think we've just got to go after them, because if they've got a few academy players in as well, they'll be experiencing that huge atmosphere for the first time, maybe.
Yeah, 100%. I remember that game, to be fair, Joe Willock having one of his best games for us. We might be surprising if he comes in, because I do remember him having quite a few good games against Manchester United. I remember a 2-0 at St James's Park, not that a few years back, when we got 4th as well, and he was excellent then as well. So maybe, just maybe, we see Joe Willock in there as well, because he does like playing Man United. But then again, we'd be playing Matty Longstaff if that was the case.
In that game, did he score the header after Maxi headed it back over? Do you remember that? Maxi knocked it back in the box and Willock headed it in off the line. That was a 2-0. But yeah, Willock does all right. Willock scored in that 3-0 game, I think.
Yeah, he scored the final goal. It was Miggy who got the first. Miggy came on for Matt Target after he was crocked after like 5 minutes. Louis Hall got his second. He loves playing against
Oh,
Man
yeah.
United as well. And then it was Joe Willock with a long busting run from midfield. It does seem like those players who can get up and down in a game for Newcastle are the ones that cause Man United the most danger. So maybe that's something we'll see on Boxing Day.
In the
But
second half, maybe. I think Ramsey,
maybe,
apparently, he said today, didn't he, that his figures in the Chelsea game, his stats, I think it's his running stats and his tackling stats and his interception, put him into the elite category of midfield players. He's got to start. He's got to
yeah,
start. You
it doesn't
can't say, well
surprise me.
done,
Like,
Jacob. That's the best you've played for us. Sit and watch somebody else play. He won't do it.
yeah, 100%. I think he is one of those where, for me, Ramsey's got so much potential we haven't seen yet. We did get a glimpse of against against Chelsea, sorry, and I would love to see him play once again. But we've mentioned a few players there. Last thing I'm going to ask you before we go to our prediction is, who do you think will be Newcastle's biggest danger man on the day?
What a danger man for Manchester United.
For Newcastle, who do you think is going to be
Newcastle's
the...
biggest danger man.
It's Cunha for Man
Oh,
United, isn't it? There's no one else you
it's
can
good.
really think of.
Cunha, yeah,
It's
Cunha,
like
as you
playing
say,
Wolves last year.
like playing Wolves last year. I would hope it's another huge game under the lights on the television. It's tailor made for Anthony Gordon to really turn it on.
Yeah,
And you'll be setting it up for Voltemara and then Wissa. So between those three, but it could be Lewis Miley who just shines like another
does it again.
Maldini like performance. Who will be going down the left against him?
Left against him would probably be... They might play Benjamin Šeško up front, which would mean Cunha would be on the left.
So that's a tough game.
Yeah, that's a really tough one. I'm trying to think of who else would go there. They don't really have any. I think they've got to play those players, actually. And then Mason Mount on the other side. Those two would probably rotate quite a lot. Mount's been in decent form. Doesn't tend to do great against Newcastle, but he is one of
We looked
those
at
where
his
he's
stats,
still a
didn't we?
danger. Yeah,
We looked
he
at his
hasn't
stats.
scored
Michael,
or assisted against
how
us.
many goals or assists has he had? None. Zero. In what? Was it 8 games, 9 games?
Yeah, something like that.
Right
Close
back
up. I
to his
can't remember off
Chelsea
the
days.
top of my head. Yeah,
He hates
he
it.
doesn't tend to do very well against us, although there was plenty of players in that Chelsea squad that did, like playing Newcastle United, probably because of the terrible managers we had at the time. But we're in a better time now, and I'm wanting to nail this one down, and we'll reach the end with the score prediction. What are you thinking, Ian? Is it going to be a 3-1? Is it going to be a draw? Could Man
It's
United
got to be
shock
3-1. It's going to be
3-1?
3-1. I'm fed up of picking 3-1 and it being 2-1 or 2-all. I've been so close with 3-1, but I think we'll win.
Yeah.
There's 75,000 Man United fans screaming at Sesko to do something. Sesko and Cunha between them probably will find a way for a few shots, and one of them will go in. The one where Ramsdale tries to save it in slow motion will go. So I can see them
Don't
scoring,
get me
but I think
started.
I think we'll have too much for them. I do. Again, I do think we'll have too much
Yeah,
for them.
you'd hope so.
And I would love it to be more of an Everton game where we race into a 3-0 lead and start taking
Brilliant
some pot
performance,
shots
that
in the
almost.
second half. Bring Wissa on to keep it going. But I think it will be. I think we'll go 2 up. They'll get one back. It'll be tense for a while, but then Wissa will come on and score the last.
Oh, very, very good indeed. To be honest, I'm a bit torn, but I am going to go for a 2-1 win for Newcastle. I think it'll be 2-0 for most of the game. I think it'll be the same as last time, where we take an early lead, we extend on it before half-time, they get a goal pretty late on, is the only difference. And Newcastle hold out like we need to. Probably just that one time of, we're 2-0 up, it's going to happen again. No, it doesn't. Newcastle hold on, 3 points. And to be honest, I agree with the Danger Man as well. I can see Anthony Gordon having an absolutely fantastic game because he does quite like playing against Man United. But
But
win,
Eddie,
lose, or
if
draw.
that's the case, Eddie, please don't make him the first sub because he was the first man off against Chelsea, and he was electric.
He was.
He, before Murphy came off, even he was the first man off.
Yeah.
Please leave him on. Leave him on. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you, Mike,
It's all right.
with that
It's
heartfelt
okay
plea.
to not worry about it. It's what I agree with because, to be honest, those changes should have come 10 minutes earlier. But win, lose, or draw, it does feel like one of those games that's going to tell us a lot about how the rest of the season's going to go for Newcastle United. Because if we can put Man United to the sword and be a little bit savage on a team that, is missing a lot of good players, it'll hopefully be the catalyst that sends Newcastle back into that great form, because as Iain mentioned at the start of the pod, it only takes 3 or 4 games to get yourself back into those Champions League places. Boxing Day, Man United versus Newcastle United under the lights. 2 very flawed teams so far this season. Both have plenty to prove. Thank you for joining me, Iain, and thank you for everybody listening right now. Let us know your predictions and whether or not you think Newcastle United can make it another memorable night under the lights at Old Trafford. Iain, what you got for me?
I was just going to say, I know you've done something with Kev, and you're also going to do something for Christmas, but I'm not going to be involved till the 27th. So, for everyone who's enjoyed listening to us, Merry Christmas to you. Have a great time. If you haven't enjoyed listening to us, what the hell are you doing now?
Well put, my friend. Well put. Yes, we do have something. Obviously, me and Kev did. Well, you'll have already seen it. It went out on 24th. If you haven't checked out the little the new Christmas message, sorry, give it a listen. It's just me saying thank you so much for listening to us over the year. I've been Michael Grahamslaw. I've been joined by Iain Mackay. This is, of course, the Daily Newcastle. Check us out on Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Connect with us on social media. James is an absolutely lovely fella. He'll connect with you and then I'll do the talking. Hope you've had a belter Christmas and we will see you very, very soon. Ta-ra.